Hi everybody, I'm Victoria, and today I'd like to give you my review of Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. So just a little bit of a history regarding me and fantasy. I've been meaning to get into fantasy a little bit more. I haven't read that much, and I've kind of tried a decent amount of YA fantasy and had some issues with it. So I thought, you know what, let's take the plunge and dive into some adult fantasy. So this is in fact the first Brandon Sanderson book that I have ever read. And it was okay. I decided that this was a 3 out of 5 for me. And I really wanted to love it. It had a lot of things going for it that I really loved and that I wanted out of a book. It's a standalone. It has 2 female protagonists in it, which is amazing. It has lots of great world building and interesting and cool magic system. So there were so many things before I read this book that I was excited about. And then I read it and yeah. So let's talk about what I really liked about this book. Well, first of all, as I mentioned before, the world building in this is really wonderful. It's very strong, as is the magic system. It's new, it's different, it's something I hadn't been exposed to before. I don't want to get too much into it because that is such a big part of the book. And if I explain it to you now, then you will already know what it's about before you read it. But just know that it is definitely an important part, and it is well fleshed out. Sanderson does a great job of explaining it. I felt like after having read this whole book, I have a clear understanding of the magic system. So, good job, Mr. Sanderson. Moving on to the other thing that I really loved about this were the characters. We have multiple different perspectives in this, and all the characters really felt like their own people. There were never any carbon copies of everyone, and each character had their own character arc, which was fantastic. They all started in one spot, and by the end, they were in a totally different area. So that was really great. Good job with characterization. The other thing that I liked was the writing itself. I really enjoyed Brandon Sanderson's voice. So that was wonderful. Also the humor, I was not expecting it. So especially from the character Lightsong and some of the mercenaries, there's quite a bit of humor, especially Lightsong, like I said. He has this witty banter and stuff like that. So overall, a lot of great stuff. Technically, this is a good novel. It's a solid novel. I would also say the plot was interesting. There's some twists and turns in it that I was maybe not exactly expecting, but nothing is exactly as it seems in this world, and there are some surprises, which is nice. Now, that being said, like I said, this seems to be a technically proficient novel. Why then did I give it 3 out of 4 stars? One word. Pacing. Oh, the pacing of this just killed me. I had to force myself to get through the first 400 pages of this. Again, it's not bad writing. It's not intricate world building. It's just so slow. I felt like we kept rehashing the same character beats over and over again. I get it. Lightsong is a flippant character. He doesn't take himself very seriously. I don't need like 5 or 6 or 7 interactions with this high priest rehashing the same thing over and over again. I just don't need that. And I think that's what really dragged this book down for me. I just wish those first 400 pages had been diluted into like 100 to 200 pages. I really think it could have been broken down. I really wish that he would have trusted his reader to understand what the characters were like at the beginning, and then just let that kind of character growth blossom from there. Unfortunately, it isn't. And then when we get to the last 250 pages of the book, whoa, all of a sudden it ramps up, and I honestly feel like our finished denouement at the end was really rushed, and we kind of skipped over some things. And I definitely feel like we could have added at least 50 pages at the end of this book. So overall, it's a technically really good, solid book. But for me, the enjoyment of it, or lack thereof, caused my star rating to go down to 3 stars. So that could just be me. I'm not a huge fan of giant books. I don't like reading endless pages of the same thing over and over again. That isn't to say that you won't enjoy this book. Again, like I said, I think it's a really well-written book. Great characters, interesting magic system, good world building, all the things. Unfortunately, the pacing for me was just off with this. But if you enjoy a slow build, if you really enjoy getting into the nitty-gritty of things, then you might like it. So will I give another Sanderson book a try? Possibly. Again, I liked his voice in this, so we'll see. But I'm just so disappointed that I didn't like it. I really wanted to. So in the end, Warbreaker, 3 out of 5. Thank you very much for watching. Have a wonderful day. See you next time.